What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and we're going down in an earlier round. Sugar, we're going down swinging. You might recognize those lyrics as being from Fallout Boy. This is Fallout. We're doing a Fallout recap. Uh, subscribe for the lamest dad jokes on YouTube ever. Fallout Boy, Season 2, Episode 6, coming at you. The recap. So, this week on Fallout, we always end up not following someone. And this week, we did not follow Owen, the brother, on his quest with the newly awakened. We saw them last week with Mama. I forgot the name of her character, Mama Bell or something. I don't know. So yeah, he's missing from this episode. We do get to check in on the original vault, which is now being run by somebody not from the original vault, who's having a really hard time with we shall call the snack uprising. So after being unable to make like a treaty with Stephanie, we see the original vault is having a feast of snacks and using their snack budget, and cannot be quelled. Uh, it's, it's definitely the silliest of the plots that we got here today. Meanwhile, in Stephanie's vault, they're preparing for a wedding, and the guy that reported on Stephanie is mysteriously missing. Wonder why. So they can't find him. So those are kind of like we just checked in on some characters, saw what they were up to type things. Most of the episode, even actually Maximus and Thaddeus, like we don't spend a whole ton of time with them. They have the cold fusion thing now, and they realize the values in that. And Maximus tells them that they have to abandon their suits, unfortunately, because there are trackers in them. So they're out there just wandering the wilderness on their own, which sucks to be them because, I mean, I don't think these guys are naturally strong fighters. So we'll see how they survive while carrying cold fusion around the Fallout wasteland. Um, but of the major characters, Lucy and Hank's storyline finally collides. So Lucy wakes up after Hank had abducted her following her fight with the ghoul at the end of the last episode. And so Hank took his daughter back down his vault, and Hank has been busy. Hank has been putting those little boxes on a whole bunch of different people, but he's been kind of like abducting people who were. He hasn't been waking any more people up. These are all just like random survivors in the wasteland that he's been experimenting on. So they're all people who have done terrible shit, but now they have a box on their head, and now they're being productive members of society. He lets her out, and he's, ready to give himself up to her, and she can take him back for justice or whatever nonsense. And he's like, just let me explain to you. Let me show you, what I've been doing here, Sugar Bomb. Um, and she gets to witness it firsthand when she tries to release a legionnaire who had been captured before he has a box put on him, and the legionnaire attacks her and almost kills her, and then her dad urges her to press the button on his little black box device, and what she does, and it brainwashes him, and suddenly he's like a nice polite human being, and she sees firsthand how this box switches, and she becomes very conflicted because somebody who was dangerous and about to kill her is suddenly like the guy from Sesame Street, like just, oh, hello, oh, let's see if we can help you there, friend. Like, just a completely different person 100%. Um, so he ends up attacking one of the characters and just stapling into that dude's forehead. And that's when he switches mid thing and he's staring at the staples in the forehead. And he's like, huh, what happened here? Oh, let's see if we can get you some help. Like, so, it's a cute scene. Hank goes around and is like, oh, this is Cheryl. Cheryl used to cook people. Now she makes great trail mix. You should try it. So, um, yeah, it's a whole bunch of like people who he picked up off the street. It reminded me, like, we've done this concept before, like, does anybody care about these people? Does anybody really care about, what if we experimented on prisoners? What if we experimented on the homeless? Ooh. Does anybody remember the movie Extreme Measures from from the 90s? With Hugh Grant and Gene Hackman, and Hugh Grant uncovers the fact that Gene Hackman has been abducting homeless people off the street and using them for medical. Anyway, so this is Hank and Abby's storyline, and it kind of leaves it with she hasn't really dragged him off. She tries to free them, but they don't want to leave. She's like, "You're free," and they're like, "Do we have to? It's scary out there." um, so yeah, it doesn't really work out for her. I mean, she's also not really captive, other than the fight that she gets into with the Legionnaire. I There really isn't much harm that ever comes to her, and that's kind of her own doing because she doesn't really listen to her dad. Who's like, "Nah, he's dangerous. I don't know. If you want to set him free, fine, whatever." Um, but so his argument is that these little boxes work because he's taking dangerous people and making them not dangerous and making them kind and productive members of society. So, one school of thought we can debate about. How do you feel about Hank's methodology? Should we put little black boxes on dangerous people, or do we think this is just the experiment and soon he's going to put little black boxes on everyone, regardless of level of danger? Ooh. What is his actual nefarious plan? So, then we also have the Ghouls storyline slash Cooper storyline. So we flash back into Cooper's past where he gets to confront his wife. And he's like, tell me, when did you become the terrible person? The worst person in the world? I can't remember what he said. And she's like, what do you mean? Me? You. Yes, you. I know what you're up to. How do you live with yourself, bitch? Sorry, I need to do his how do you, I can't, how does he speak? What is his accent? What regionality is? I gotta get the accent right. Right. How do you live with yourself? That didn't sound right. But it shows her going to meet the double of the wealthy guy who's supposed to be receiving the cold fusion. And, she doesn't even have all the answers. She doesn't even know who is in charge of Vault-Tec. So there are questions that are unanswered to her. And she claims she's just doing all of this to help her, their family and their daughter. And he's like, how could you kill, millions of people, millions of kids just like her? And he's like, wouldn't you do it for her? That's no. I mean, that's a tough ask of anybody. It's like, would you kill 1 million people to save your child? It's like, wow, 1 million? 1 million people. I hope if anybody is like, would you kill a million people to save me? The answer is no. Like, I hope that's a thing. Because I definitely don't want to be the person on the other end of that is like, you killed how many people to save? I, I'm, what? So, no, I think also when she wakes up and has that, I think that's when you get sort of that rebellious teenager that hates her parents. Is like, wait a minute, you killed how many people for me? Millions? Millions. Not just like two. It's not like you just killed the neighbors because they were very threatening. No, you okay. This is an unfortunate incident. Yeah, it's way too many people. But I guess the mother's like, I do. It's really taking that "I'd do anything for you" that concept to like to the limit. I would kill every single person on this planet except my daughter, if it meant my daughter got to live. And it's like, do you think your daughter might have a moral compass that would bother her with that choice? Just to know. Perchance. Lots of morality questions. What do we do with cold fusion? What do we do with the ravaged, insane people wandering through Fallout? Is this a moral quandary, or is this just the ramblings of a crazy person trying to rationalize why she kills people to save her dog? Anyway, so Cooper's trying to figure out, and the mystery behind all this, and still try to stop the bombs. But of course, we know this is flashback, so he's gonna fail. Um, he invites young Hank, over for a drink, and knocks him out with whatever the concoction he put in there, and goes through gets his briefcase to go through it to see if there's anything meaningful in there. It's kind of funny to see this storyline play out because, like, he's gonna fail no matter what he finds, what truth he comes to. He can find all the answers in the world, the bombs still drop. You know, it's kind of interesting to see his journey to them, because it's like, what if like we find out that it was the ghoul who dropped the bombs, and you're like, what a shocker, what a twist. But yeah, so in real world, the ghoul is impaled after being kicked out of the window last episode in the fight while he was trying to tranquilize and, serve the daughter back to Hank on a plate, because that was part of the deal, like, I'll leave your family alone if you give me my daughter back. So he's impaled, and Dogmeat is of no help. Dogmeat takes a hat and runs away instead of giving him the vial. So he's sort of in the middle of transitioning between like a ghoul and, like a rabid ghoul, whatever this thing's called, where he's going to lose his memory. So he's having these little fits because he needs to take his medicine so he can maintain his humanity. But he's also not dying because he's already dead, so he's just impaled upon this thing, and nobody seems to be helping him until dun, 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 a giant fucking mutant comes to rescue him. So, sounds like it was voiced by Ron Perlman with that deep voice, with a little bit of grit in it. Pulls him off of the spire thing that he's on, and then, takes him back to the mutant lair. And this is not like the X-Men mutants. No, these are like people who have been, I guess, changed due to radiation, and they're larger and gooier, grosser. The audio description on them was alright, but I have a feeling they look gnarlier than what I got. So, and it's just it gets a little bit hard to describe at a certain point. But he puts some uranium in the ghoul, and he says, bad for them, good for us. and it heals the ghoul, which is something that I don't think the ghoul ever thought about. It shows the ghoul is like ready to like use his sidearm to fight off this mutant, but the mutant's being nice to him. The mutant's like, "We need you for the fight," you know. So he heals him, but the ghoul doesn't want to join the mutants. He won't because he wants to save his family who are human, and the mutant is sort of like, "I hate all humans," so they don't quite see eye to eye. So the mutant knocks out the ghoul to leave him on his journey, and I guess he doesn't get to fight with the mutants. But now we know there are mutants in Fallout. So that's basically it in a nutshell. We still have 2 more episodes this season. I think at the end of the day, the big question is what is happening with the snack budget? I think that is a storyline that we need to stick with and focus on, because it is clearly the most important thing. It's definitely the funniest thing. When they start, somebody says something about the Weevil famine. He's like, "I'm tired about hearing about the Weevil famine," and then somebody's like, "Thank God." Oh, God, I've been wanting to say that this whole time. So, in a show that is already kind of has a little bit of levity, it's like more levity on top of levity. This isn't like the darkest show, right? This is not the darkest timeline of Fallout. So, it's like, I don't know that we need this. It's not like the show is particularly like super serious 100% of the time throughout all of these other storylines. And it's like, oh, thank God we have this one silly storyline. It's kind of goofy throughout. It's sort of like, I don't know if James Gunn was doing something, and then he added something that was even more humorous into his already sort of humorous attempt at something. It just isn't, yeah. You don't need it. Yeah, your thing is already kind of that vibe. So I like Fallout though. I'm still somewhere in the eights on this, on season 2. I hope they pick it up for 3rd season. I hope it's doing well enough to warrant that. And I will be back next week with a recap of season 2, episode 7. Until then, Fallout, boy.